Look here. When you put the fish in the bathtub, did you turn the water off? No, the tub wasn't filled up. Oh, man, this is bad. This is so bad. Man, do you know what it is? Bad? Well, it's not good. Oh, don't worry, Kenan. I know something that'll cheer you up. You do? Oh, yeah. No. Go up there and turn the water off. All right. I'm right on.
Welcome, everybody, to the Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron program. I answer to the name of Aaron.
And I answer to the name of Adam.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sticky Bun.
Oh, right. I forget. I was so ready to do the Kenan one.
As we promised, we've been opening this show as Kenan and Kel opened their show on stage with the red curtain and the big orange couch in front of it. And this week they got a little creative, except Kel kind of took a left turn and said Sticky Bun. We don't know why. The randomness, Adam, do you feel like the randomness has been increasing just to keep the laughs up?
I would think so. This is probably the most cartoony episode we've seen thus far.
Cartoony or anxiety-provoking?
The episode in question that we're discussing this week on Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron, the show where we talk about Kenan and Kel, the 90s Nickelodeon show, is Season 3, Episode 13, Housesitter.
The premise here, people, is that Kenan and Kel, well, not really Kel, Kenan has been put in charge of Chris's house while he's away. Why don't we get into it, Adam?
Let's do it. We mentioned it before that we even got started here, that this is usually where the season ends, right? 13 episodes?
12 or 13, yeah.
But for some reason, they love Kenan and Kel so much that season 3 has an additional 9.
I feel like there's probably a trend here with Nickelodeon shows or just shows around this time in general. They probably only ran 3 or 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. And so when they got renewed for the third or fourth season, they figured okay, let's just get our money's worth here. Let's get as much as we can from this show.
Sure. Yeah, I remember it being really a special circumstance if someone got more than 13 episode season block. iCarly was a big deal because they got 20 episodes in their first season to start.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess they must have really had faith in the brand by now.
Well, it's a formula and it works, and people get the laughs. And I mean, let's point out the obvious, right? It represents a community that was not represented before.
No, absolutely.
In Nickelodeon, but kids TV in general.
And it was a great reference point there, and for other people outside that community to witness and enjoy too.
Yeah, exactly. So we are on stage. We are introduced to Kenan and Kel, and then Kel. They're both wearing plaid blue today.
Yeah, I made that note. It looks like they're almost wearing the same shirt, but Kenan's got his blazer on top, and Kel's got his hat.
And Kel's shirt's open, Kenan's closed, so they got their own style going within this outfit.
I often point this out, but the crowd cheers a lot louder for Kel than Kenan.
It's typically how it goes. Yep. I don't think Kenan. They definitely love Kel more than Kenan because Kel's a little bit, he's funnier, and Kenan's more adult-like. But I feel like this episode, Kenan, I don't know if that was just how it was written, but he was a little lower energy. He might have been having something going on, but
yeah. Oh, or just in comparison to Kel, he was lower energy.
But that's possible as well.
Yeah, I'm happy that versus Freezer Burned a couple episodes ago, Kenan's got something to do this episode.
Right. It's not just a total abomination of the circumstance.
It's not full Kel. Kenan's funny in his own way, oftentimes throughout this one. Kel, in this opening sequence, has an umbrella.
That's not just any umbrella, Adam. That looks like a little girl's umbrella.
Yeah, it's light blue with one of those hook handles.
And I think it has I don't even know, maybe Santa Claus on around the outside. It's got some weird, I don't even know, teddy bears or something. And of course, Kenan is why do you have an umbrella inside?
According to Kel, the weatherman said that it's going to rain, and the umbrella will keep it from getting wet.
Or as Kel calls it, the umbrella. Emphasis on the
But Kenan, of course, points out to Kel that we're inside So there's no rain going to be on the inside.
And, you can see the camera zoomed out a little bit. Kel's got the umbrella over his head, and you just know what's going to happen. Except I was assuming it was going to rain on both of them, and Kenan was going to get wet. But it just rains on Kel, who's holding up the umbrella and staying dry.
There's a thunder and lightning effect, and then just the rain's only falling on Kel, which Kenan points out. And he says, "Why are they only falling on you?" And Kel says,
I have an umbrella.
"Yeah, I'm with the umbrella, so of course it's going to fall on me."
Right.
Really...
It's really good umbrella logic. Rain logic, right?
And Kenan says, "This gives me an idea. Come on, dippity-doo."
He grabs the umbrella, right? Yeah, he grabs the umbrella, and then it starts raining on Kenan, who has the umbrella. So it's like the rain follows the umbrella. Just like rain follows the plow. Like what they used to think when they were settling the West. And then the Dust Bowl happened. When it stopped raining. They're like, oh, this is a great place to live. It's always raining.
Dust storms.
Meanwhile, when people settled in like the early 1900s, it was like exceptionally rainy season for like decades. And then Then it went to be like it used to be.
Climate changes.
Yep.
Let the world know. A casually awesome practical effect. Like versus the giant head thing that we saw. They really set the stage and made too big of a deal out of it. This one they just do like off the cuff. They're like, oh yeah, no, sure, it'll rain on Kel.
Right. Right, it'll rain on Kel. Kenan will grab it. Kenan will get an idea, and he'll say, "Come on, dippity-doo."
So let's on with the show.
On with the show. We enter where we usually enter.
Surprise, surprise! It's Rigby's.
It's Rigby's. Kenan has a dolly with a box filled with magazines, and he's in the store by himself. So he rolls the dolly over. Is that called a dolly?
It's like a fork. It's not a forklift. No. It's
no way. It's like the thing you put boxes on and you lean back, and then it has like two wheels and.
Yeah, like a lean wheeler.
It's called a dolly. It's a dolly, Adam. A lean wheeler.
Hey, wheeler is coming up in the results.
A
table
wheeler.
and sheet wheeler, yeah.
It's called a dolly. All right. I'm sorry for the confusion, everybody.
Oh yeah, it's like okay, but he's looking at the magazines and he reads the cover, which talks about Rachel Daninsky, which is a date with you a night to remember or a nightmare.
Yeah, it's one of those like tabloid magazines, and Kenan goes, "Oh, who even reads these things, anyways?" Looks around and he opens it up. I feel like we've all wanted to do that, right? You see like Jennifer Aniston gets a third divorce, or I don't even know, whatever the thing says. You're like, I am not going to buy that, but that headline really caught my eye.
I mean, if they're selling them, someone's clearly still buying them.
Right. It's like, why do I care so much about what happens to these people who are famous?
Yeah. Inside, he reads about what's your ideal date? And he's like, a moonlight picnic. Nah, that's stupid. An arm wrestling contest. Yeah, now we're talking.
And then there's a bzzz, bzzz,
as a fly lands on his forehead.
And so he tries to hit the fly with the magazine, hits himself in the head, and gets a little laugh from the audience. I don't know what the point of this little scene was. It was just like goofy. It was like a little bit.
I think it was to set up Kel for this joke that is a new contender for one of my favorite Kel jokes. Kenan swats at the fly in midair, which would not work.
It's true. This is amazing. This is amazing.
And the fly lands on the counter, and Kel enters.
Not the counter. It lands on the central display thing.
Yes, the end caps.
Yeah.
And Kel comes in, and Kenan tells him, "Shh, fly, Kel."
And Kel's like, "Oh." I don't know. He does like a chicken thing, or more like a pigeon thing. I can't even do it.
He starts cooing like a pigeon, he does these weird neck movements.
Yeah, and he starts walking
and
like
then
a pigeon.
He starts jumping and waving his arms around.
And then he jumps on the counter and jumps off the counter and knocks over the whole display. So really good. It's really funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, he says,
"Fly, okay."
Oh man, I can't do it. I lost my ability to fly. It's just really good comically missing the point.
Yeah, comically missing the point. That's right. So yeah, we're happy about this. This is good. Adam, I do have to say something. So I'm a fan of TV. One of my favorite shows and one of the best shows of all time is Breaking Bad. And in season 4, there's notoriously an episode from the vantage point of a fly.
Yes, I've heard of this.
And I think it's one of the worst rated episodes. But like, if you're a director and you have the most successful TV show of all time, it's like, if you're not stretching the bounds of what like you can do, you know, if you're not like pushing the edge of like what creativity means and what is acceptable for a TV show, it's like, well, you're kind of losing it. So that's what they tried to do. I don't think it was well received.
You gotta mess with the formula a little bit.
Right. But I am saying that this scene in Kenan and Kel probably inspired that.
Oh, great. Yes. I'm sure you're correct on that.
Do we have a list of this? I feel like I need to go back and like make a list of all these.
I know it started with Google Pops.
That was pretty. I mean, it got pretty intense in season 1.
Kenan explains to Kel, no, there's a fly right next to your head, and Kel goes, oh.
And then he takes his 2-liter of orange soda, flips it upside down. The orange soda starts flying out, and then he just kind of like baseball bat hits like the whole entire display, knocks all the drawers off and all that stuff.
Yeah, a little, I would call it an out of character Kel moment for a couple reasons.
A little excessively violent, perhaps.
Well, excessively violent. It loves living creatures like the spider and the rat.
You're right.
So one might even say that he wouldn't hurt a fly. Or in this situation, he's absolutely hurting a fly, and he's also wasting orange soda. So
very uncharacteristic.
But very funny. As he pours orange soda over everything on this end cap as he knocks it all over and misses the fly several times.
Or maybe he saw that Kenan was so afraid and frustrated by this fly that he wanted to help his friend out.
Maybe flies are where his cutoff is.
Maybe, perhaps, mayhaps.
Yeah. Or maybe he wanted to empty out the orange soda so he could capture the fly inside of it and release it outside.
That would have been a better gag, but not quite. Anyways, Chris walks out and he goes, Kenan, you'll never believe what is happening. And then Kenan goes over and he just says, well, we wanted to take everything off the shelves and then clean them with orange soda. And Chris is like, oh, okay. And
yeah. I think it's a really great subversion. He's like, oh, all right. So anyway.
Yes.
So Chris's good news that he and his mother got an all-expense-paid trip to what wonderful destination?
Yakoma Springs.
Yes. And they're going to be gone for a whole week.
And he asks Kenan a favor. We already know what the favor is. He asks him to tend his house when he is gone.
As he's asking Kenan to do this big favor for him, Kenan is just immediately coming up with, like, firing off excuses. And they're really funny.
Well, you know, the lunar eclipse.
And the situation with the potatoes.
Again, random.
Yeah.
Good random, though.
He changes his tune, though.
When Chris offers him a handsome reward of $50.
Yes. Do you think that's enough for the task that Chris has for him?
No. A week of house sitting.
7 days of house sitting. Yeah. And as we're about to learn that he's got a very, very precise, regimen.
That's right. At least $70.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. $10 a day.
Yeah, but if you're at 70, why not go up to 75? And if you're at 75, why not just go up to 100?
Well, Kenan agrees to 50, and Cal celebrates by killing the fly on Chris's head.
That's right. Now, I don't know if you should ask Kenan, because Kenan is supposedly, if Chris is going away for a whole week, who's watching Rigby's?
Oh, that's a good point.
It's probably Kenan, right?
And we learned later that Kenan, I think gives himself the day off one of the days.
Yeah, on Saturday. Yeah, at the end of the week. Yep, so...
Chris probably should have asked Sharla.
Sharla has been MIA the past couple episodes. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to check the production order to see when this was filmed. I want to make sure that she's been introduced by this point and when these were created. Yeah, she's been around.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell by Kenan's hair. It's very long.
That's a good point. Maybe she's on there in summer. It's vacation. Who knows?
Anyways, Kenan agrees, and the next scene, we are in a new location, which is Chris's house.
Yes. And as Kel points out a few times, this is Chris's mother's house, clearly, in the kind of decor choices.
Yes. It's an old house. The transition here is a picture of Chris and his mother that is brought up later by Kel, because Kel is intently looking at this picture. And it's after Chris graduated from somewhere. I forget where.
From grocery college. So, Chris...
Oh, no.
Which feels like a scam, right? It feels like...
I mean, if you're like going to like, because they have like the McDonald's franchisee school, and so if you're gonna be if you're gonna have McDonald's, you have to go to McDonald's University, and it's like that kind of makes sense. But the grocery store for general grocers, I mean, you don't. Okay,
maybe it's like bartender school,
and maybe in this universe, right? Sometimes we think that this universe like makes sense to us, but it's like our universe, but I don't think it is.
I don't know if Chris has shown any skills at Rigby's that, like, a 15 to 18-year-old like Kenan hasn't shown.
Well, we don't see what happens in the back of the house with the billing and all that stuff. So maybe
that's true.
Maybe
running a small business is tough.
Yes. Shout out to all of our small businesses out there, especially our corner stores.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw, Adam, I saw, just to plug it, another show about a corner store, In the Heights.
Ooh, right.
Check it out, people. HBO Max. It's delightful. If you like Kenan and Kel,
get another streaming service.
This is nothing like that. Paramount Plus pales in comparison to HBO Max. Just letting everybody know.
Do you have Chris's regimen here for his plants?
Well, Adam, they're not only his plants; they're his friends. As he clarifies to Kenan.
And he puts one of the leaves close to his ear and like laughs as if he hears a joke.
So Kenan's supposed to water them Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. Or actually, I think that was just one of them.
Yeah, just one of them. So I imagine they each have like a regimen that is this precise.
But I don't know why he would tell Kenan that, and I don't know. Like, he should have made a detailed list of everything.
Yes. If it's this precise, and he knows Kenan. We ran into this problem last episode about Roger. And what he got to mess with Kenan by telling him something they shouldn't know. They know Kenan by now.
Oh, we got to compliment the camera angle here. It's like hiding behind a plant, looking at Chris and Kenan.
I did want to point out that this episode is directed by Virgil Fabian. He's like kind of the second highest populated director of the Kenan and Kel, right behind Kim Fields.
Oh, Virgil.
So he I think he does a lot more close-ups. If I'm to take anything away from his style.
It's good. It's creative.
And Chris has another friend.
His name is Norman.
Yes. He is a fish.
Goldfish. A goldfish with a giant tank. It's a normal sized tank. Adam, what does Chris like to do to Norman?
He likes to entertain him by playing him the oboe.
Chris goes to play the oboe, and it sounds like a dying animal.
It's very bad. Aaron, do you have any idea of what his fish name could be referencing?
Norman Rockwell, all of the paintings hanging.
That's an interesting theory.
No, I just made that up top of my head.
I don't have an official answer on this, and I don't think I've found anything, but I think that the name also might be inspired by Norman from Psycho. Are you familiar with the film?
Yeah, like American Psycho or Psycho?
Psycho. Norman Bates.
Norman Bates. Oh.
Because Norman Bates is a character that also has like a lot of like, let's just say mom issues.
Okay.
And I think he and Chris have a lot of the same features and like look and appearance and haircut and mannerisms. He's just more about a horror direction than Chris.
That makes more sense. I'm trying to look up famous grocers to see if there's a Norman. But I don't know if I'm finding anything. I'm just finding the history of waffles.
Can you name one famous grocer?
Yeah, actually, Kellogg. The guy.
Oh yeah, I guess he counts.
There was a real guy named Kellogg, and he was a. I feel like I mentioned this story before on Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. He was Kellogg. Basically made grains, like this grain-based cereal that he was going to feed people to make them no longer have the urge to have premarital sex or masturbate.
Yeah, right.
And so then
He designed this bland cereal to remove that from people's lives.
yeah, remove the vitality from people's lives. Long story short, it becomes Kellogg's, like one of the largest national chains.
Yeah, it's really just crazy origins for that.
Yes, I don't know what his name was.
Speaking of crazy origins, though, let's talk about some of these photos around Chris's place.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so we get a close-up of this photo that when Chris graduated from grocery school, and his diploma is covering his mother's face. And then Kenan's like, this isn't that great of a picture because it's kind of covering up your mom's face. And then we cut over to these other pictures that are framed, and his mother's face is covered in all of them.
Right.
In the opening of Rigby's, in his high school graduation, it looks like, but he looks the same. And
yes, you saw it too, right?
Oh, I saw it, Adam.
What a casual observer might think is some kind of Halloween photo, but in this photo, Chris is wearing a costume, and his mother is also wearing a costume. What costume is she wearing?
She's dressed as a witch.
She's a witch! I say!
She's literally a witch.
Yeah, she's literally... We've been joking since the witch episode that Chris has all this inside knowledge about witches because his mom is one. But she's literally...
She's literally a witch. Now, why do you think her face was covered in all these pictures? Probably because the flash was blinding to her. Unless she was wearing her hat. Because you can see her eyes in the picture with the hat.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. I also think that she's got some kind of like witchy, warty, big nose or something like that.
Yeah, something like
or like mostly green skin.
Right.
I don't know what to tell you. It's she's got some clear witch features that Chris is obscuring, and he's aware that he's obscuring it too because like when Kenan literally says to him for the first time in the show, "Come to think of it, I've never seen your mama, Chris." Chris says, "Well, she's not here right now." Like very defensively.
Yes. Like, don't go look up in the attic or the basement.
Right. Yeah, no, don't look in the potato cellar.
So, anyways, Adam, I saw that and I was just like, get out of here. Get out of here. She's a witch.
Either that or Chris is in some kind of alternative relationship.
Ugh. Or he's in, like, a cult.
All these are different reads. But the cult witch thing, I think, is my favorite one of all.
I can't wait till we have Chris on the podcast and then we ask him if his mother was a witch in the show.
I'd love to hear theories from Dan Friedman himself.
Yes, that would be. Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of this because that's too hard.
It's too crazy.
Yeah, you can't pass that up.
We also noticed that there's a paperweight with an eyeball on it. On like the on the counter of the. I thought that was a weird prop to have in a not witch house.
I think the wallpaper is very just possessive. Possessed. Anyways, so Kel has to go to the bathroom. He goes into the closet, and Chris is like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And then Kel comes out, and he says, "Sorry about your jacket." It's a little like Kel's trying to find the bathroom. So eventually, Kel goes upstairs to the bathroom,
and Chris basically says to Kenan, puts a very fine front on it. Please don't forget.
Fast forward 6 days later, in front, and Kenan pacing around his living room or his family room, TV room, whatever, and he's going, "I feel like I'm forgetting something."
And Cal's watching, he's having a snack, watching TV, or it looks like he's watching TV. We'll get into that in a second. And he's like, you forgot how to make cookies. He's like guessing all kinds of stuff. You forgot about that $10 I owe you. What $10? Never mind.
In come Mr. and Mrs. Rockmore, and Kenan goes, "What am I forgetting?"
And when they arrive, Kel says to them, "Hey, did you guys bring me something?"
And they're just like, "Kel, shut up."
They see Kel laughing.
Yeah, Kel's cracking up, and like, "Kel, what are you laughing at?"
The TV.
It's nothing on the TV. Oh, it's a funny looking TV.
The Kel jokes this episode are... They're a little different than his usual style of comedy, but I love them. They're so good.
They're pretty good. They're pretty happy-go-lucky for sure.
Yeah, they talk to Kenan. They're like, "Hey, I thought you had to work today." This is where Kenan says, "I gave myself the day off."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, things have been so good since Chris left." And then his eyes get all big.
Yeah.
And he...
This is like the Joey Tribbiani.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And then you can see him start biting his lips, and he's kind of just like,
Cal's all, "Kenan, I think I remember what you forgot." And then, the parents asking, "When's Chris coming back?" "Tonight."
At some point, Kenan goes, "I left my limbo stick in a jar." I don't know what that was for.
Kel's still thinking of things that he forgot. And he's like, "Oh, you forgot to tell your dad about how you broke the window in his car."
Oh, right. And he goes, "Oh, I left my limbo stick in the jar." I guess trying to rhyme.
Come on, Kel, let's go. And they go to Chris's house.
Yeah, and it is just
a horror scene.
It's like a hurricane. There's leaves everywhere, dead leaves.
Every one of the plants are 100% dead.
Yep. And Kel goes, "Maybe they're not dead. They're just sleeping." He goes over. "Wake up! Wake up!"
Nope, they're dead.
So yes, Kenan has in 6 days he forgot. Let's zoom out for a second. Kenan had one responsibility. Maybe he had two responsibilities. One was to take care of Rigby's. One was to take care of the house. But in the episode, he has one responsibility: make sure Chris's friends don't die, and all of his friends are dead.
Yeah, he goes and he's like, "They were his friends," like laughing.
Yeah, it's just
as he did.
Yep.
I probably watched this episode too many times. I just love it when Kenan first enters the house. He's like, "Oh, the plants are dead." Fortunately, not all of Chris's friends are dead.
Norman
still lives.
Storm and Norman. He's still alive. Somehow he has not eaten in 6 days, but he is going strong.
Some goldfish are resilient like that.
Yeah, they can eat the algae or some stuff. Yeah.
Kenan says, "Kel, you feed the fish. I'm gonna clean up the plants."
They shake hands, and Kenan grabs the vacuum out of the closet. Kel goes into the kitchen.
This episode, from this point on, they get into increasing trouble, and Kenan still thinks that they can fix things. At this point, do you think this situation is fixable?
Yes. This situation is very manageable. The worst thing that happened is that they killed all the plants.
If he goes to the store and gets new plants, then he's all set.
Well, this is the thing. You're not going to replace those plants. You got to just be like, "Look, Chris, I'm sorry. The plants died. How can I make it up to you? I'll work for free for 2 weeks," something like that.
Or I will not accept your $50 because it sounds like if it's a monetary thing, I think just buying the plants, they're like at a loss. Right.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Chris would notice if the plants were different.
Exactly.
Anyways, instead of that happening, this is Kenan and Kel. And so you kind of have an idea of what's going to go down. And it's not good.
No, not at all.
So, Adam, how do we start this?
Kenan gets out the vacuum to go start cleaning up. Meanwhile, he's ignoring Kel in the background, who is fixing up dinner for Norman.
Listen, kids, if you're trying to clean up large leaves that have fallen on the ground, a vacuum is not what you need. You need a dustpan and a broom.
Yeah, or just like some clippers. You cut them all down to snuff.
Yeah, but you gotta sweep. You need a broom. You gotta sweep the leaves. It's so much easier than. Kenan grabs the vacuum. He plugs in. He's gonna start vacuuming. Kel is coming back from the kitchen, and what does he drop into the fish tank, Adam?
Well, first he starts him off with a steak. Pow!
T-bone steak, large T-bone steak.
He adds a bag of chips to the top of his tank.
And last but not least, he tops it off with some orange soda.
Yeah. And Kenan, when he sees this, he has a very, I'm going to say, measured response of pointing out to Kel how silly this meal is.
Yes. Kenan's very calm. Usually in these situations, he is the opposite, but he's very calm here.
And I think it makes sense because he has to go through a gradient this episode. He has to go from calm to fully freaking out, and he at this moment is calm.
Right, he's very calm. He's very calm.
But yeah, he points out the T-bone steak and the potatoes, and why did he give him orange soda? I thought he might get thirsty. Man, he lives in water. How thirsty can he be?
Yeah, this part, I mean, I just felt so bad for Norman. He's swimming in this orange goo. It seems like there was actually a fish in there.
I mean, perhaps it was orange-colored water. I'll think the best of Norman.
Okay.
I'll think the best of this carnival fish in 1999.
Yes. This poor guy.
Kenan rightly points out that stuff, he can't eat that. That'll kill him. Quick, get him out of there. I'll get a bowl.
Yeah, and so it should have taken them a shorter amount of time to think of getting the fish out, but it was a good 30 seconds of deliberating, but at least they got there,
And he's swimming around for what it's worth.
He's swimming. Yeah. So Kenan goes into the kitchen and he's going bowl. Gotta save the fish. He grabs a bowl and then it's a colander. So he goes, the bowl with the holes in it.
Meanwhile, Kel's like, fish, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's like, I know we'll make it up to you, and he pulls out the oboe.
And unlike Chris, who could not play the oboe to save his life, Kel whips out a jam.
He makes it work. But then he says, he probably can't even hear it.
So he puts the oboe in the water and starts playing.
And it sounds pretty much like Chris played it, but it's in the water. Kel has the brilliant idea to, I got it. I'll clean up the water myself.
Is that what he said, or did he say that, Norman can't hear it in there because there's water?
No, I think he wanted to clean up it himself.
Okay. So, flashback. So Kel grabs the vacuum cleaner and is sucking the water out of the tank. Meanwhile, Kenan takes the fruit in the fruit bowl, dumps it over, and fills it with water.
Pretty fresh fruit for 6 days, I will say. There's just some yellow bananas.
Looks very fresh. Clearly, they did not prepare their house well. Maybe they said, "Hey, eat these fruits."
Well, unless because Chris was going away, it's a fake fruit bowl. Some families do that, right?
Well, it was like loose grapes.
Fake loose grapes.
Maybe they got green bananas and like unripe fruit, and they
like,
let it ripen
back.
over the week.
That's actually a good plan. That's good thinking.
That sounds like the plan only a certified grocer could make.
Yes, you're correct. Wow, I was at the wrong there. But yeah, he does that and he fills up the bowl with water, and it's very funny because it's just Kenan at the sink and he's just spilling water everywhere and he's having his own comic events of his own.
He fills the bowl up, walks outside, sees that Kel's vacuuming up the thing, and then drops the bowl. It shatters.
So, he freaks out.
So there's so much. I mean, like, so first it was just the leaves. Then it was Norman swimming in human food. Then it was water on the floor in the kitchen, and then it was the broken bowl with now broken stuff and water everywhere, and then the oboe is sitting in the. And meanwhile, your anxiety is just rising.
It keeps going up and up. Another thing that Kenan says as he's slipping around, he says, "Slippery when wet."
He's like, slippery when wet. Yep.
He shouts at Kel, "Where's Norman?" And Kel, his first place to look for him is underneath the couch.
Yep.
He's like, I know where to look.
And then he's like, he's in the vacuum. And he rips open the vacuum. A bunch of water flows out. He's not in there.
Destroying the bag.
And then he goes, I know.
He's in the oboe. So he takes apart the oboe and he blows him out.
Disassembles it like he's used an oboe before, clearly. What did we say about Kel having musical talents? Did we ever talk about this?
So it's something that we talked about when we were like talking past lives and things like that. If there's anything to that credit, I think innate musical talent could be something there. You ever see like those child like maestros or whatever?
Maestros, yeah. Or maybe didn't we say that his family might have been carnies?
He has a cousin in the circus.
That's not really a musical. That's more like musical is like a classical thing that you do.
Yeah. The oboe is not a carny instrument.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Anyways, it's beautiful, and so Kel takes apart the oboe. So then he has like the end of it. And he sees Norman in there. And he goes, oh, no, I got it. So he puts it up to his mouth and blows it. And Norman flies across the room. It's a pretty great effect.
Onto just the wet floor?
Yep.
And now it's a chase to get Norman a place.
This part's really funny. You can see, like, Kel blows it, and then he's, like, cracking up. But he's like, oh! And so he runs over, and he, like, kind of, like, fake slams into the front door. And then he like picks up Norman, and he's like, "Oh, he's tickling me." He's like in his hands, and he's just making him laugh, and it's really
he's all slimy.
They're having so much fun.
Kenan, his move since the bowls have been destroyed is to grab the trophy that's on the shelf, fill it with water, and then get Norman into it.
I don't know what kind of trophy.
I couldn't make it out. I hope it's like a Grocer of the Year award.
It has to be.
I'll tell you, it's not from the bag off. That's like a little man.
Right,
with a bag.
Not the bag off. No, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's probably like a high school thing. Chris seems like an only son.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe like chess club. Is that something that Chris you think was into?
I don't know. He doesn't seem like the most intelligent. Like, you know what I mean? Like he seems like he's a little bit like.
He had to get a trophy for something.
Chris is a businessman who earned a trophy at one point in time.
Yeah,
and
participation trophy.
Meanwhile, okay, so he goes out and he put Norman in the trophy. Boom. Okay, Norman's situation diffused. Okay, they sit down and Kel goes, "Man, what a long day." He picks up the trophy and drinks.
So, and then
There's just
And
so
they
much
freak out.
happening. So much horror. So many horrible things.
They fumble with the trophy and it falls on the ground and breaks. And so Kenan instructs Kel to go upstairs and put Norman in the bathtub.
But Norman's in Kel's mouth.
I think he spits him into his hands or something.
Yep, he rushes up with Norman. I'm glad he didn't swallow him.
Yes,
We're not talking David Blaine here. We're talking Kel Kimball. And so he runs up the stairs, hits the wall on the way up, runs up. And then he puts Norman in the bathtub, turns on the water, and boom, Norman is alive somehow.
Yeah, he does this really good, funny bit about, hey, let me see if the water's right for you. he puts his sneaker into it. He's like, yeah, that's good.
His sneaker's like a part of his body. It's like an extension of his body.
Maybe he just doesn't take off his sneakers at all. Because you always get mad when he's like wearing them when they're in like their parents' bed.
In the parents' bed, yeah. I do have to say something about this bathroom.
Oh, it is a sight for sore eyes, isn't it?
I mean, if you live in an apartment in Philadelphia, like an old one, you've seen, or if you've been around town, you've seen like a 1970s pink and green bathroom. But that's what we got here. We got green tiles on the wall. We got green and pink, like Cosmo and Wanda, like half semicircle wallpaper above like halfway point on the wall, above like 4 feet. And then
the craziest thing in here is the poster. Did you see this poster?
What is the poster? Funk Bus?
It matches the color scheme of the bathroom. Funk Bus 72.
What is that?
I have no idea. I looked it up. There's no source on that. It seems like just a made up thing.
Oh my god, that's a beautiful poster. It's like the Magic School Bus with like, doesn't it look like the Magic School Bus?
Yeah, it does. It does kind of look like that.
I don't know. That's like a random. That's like before they put everything on the internet. It's like somebody's band. Maybe it was Chris's high school band.
Yeah, maybe that's what he got a trophy for. He was in a band.
I don't know. But last thing, the porcelain is pink. So like the tub, the sink, and the toilet are all pink.
Yes. There's something I did want to point out, and we'll explore this in other episodes. But Chris is not an only child.
What?
We know he at least has a cousin Winona, but he does have a sibling.
How do we know?
You'll see later.
In a later episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Down the line.
Well, Chris is definitely the favorite because there's only pictures of Chris and his mom, and his mom doesn't even have a face.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point.
They didn't write that part in yet. They were hoping nobody would ever go back and watch every episode and talk about it.
No. But Cal leaves the bathroom, forgetting one major thing.
The water's still running. This is like a kind of anxiety that's building within you as you watch this episode.
A continuous tension.
It's like the anxiety you get when you're watching Home Alone.
Every time I fill a bathtub, I think about this episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I don't want to fill up too. I don't want to keep it going. That'd be terrifying.
I just think about the wet bandits. Cal comes downstairs and Kenan is making a list.
His list is pretty incredible. The items changed like tit for tats down the line. But do you have what he has on this list right now?
No.
I have the full list. So
oh, perfect.
Clean up this mess. Buy some more plants from the store. Fix the bowl. Clean out the fish tank. Replace the vacuum. Fix the trophy. And Cal reminds him to get a new oboe.
Yes, and so that's a pretty substantial list they gotta put together in the next little bit here.
They only have 4 hours until Chris comes home.
4 hours, right. So Kenan's just walking around with this list. He puts it in his front little pocket, Oxford pocket, or whatever you call it.
And he tells Cal to grab the keys as they're leaving.
To which Cal looks at the keys sitting right there, laughs, and then keeps walking.
It's the one bit that I don't think like fully lands. Because we'll get into it after the commercial break.
He just looks and laughs.
Mm-hmm.
And then as they leave, Cal closes the door. We cut up to the full bathtub that is overflowing, beginning to overflow. It's a very dramatic shot.
Yeah, we see more of it overflowing as we return from the commercial break. And Kenan and Cal, what are they up to now?
Well, they are trying to break in through the kitchen window, because guess what? They don't have the keys.
It's funny because Cal says, well, why does this stuff always happen to us? And he's like, well, why didn't you grab the keys? And Cal's response is, oh, you're serious? I thought you were telling a joke.
Yeah, again, it didn't really land. It was just like, Cal.
If it was a joke, it'd be funny. And Cal's like, I don't know, I've heard some of your jokes.
So they're climbing in. And
Cal does fine, but Kenan
Kenan accidentally kicks the
Faucet handles.
Yeah, the thing on the faucet, like, the knob you turn, and then the water starts shooting up. So
Yeah, it's like a geyser.
to stop it, Kel grabs the doily curtains and tries to stop it, and they just get soaked. And Kenan grabs it. He's like, no, not the curtains. And then he grabs a rubber glove and puts it on the faucet that's exploding.
Which he does pretty well, I gotta say. Kel's like, don't worry, we have an hour to fix this. And that's when Kenan starts freaking out.
Yeah, he starts
He's
panicking.
like, an hour? They wasted 3 hours.
What did they get at the store?
I don't know. Do they have like a bunch of like plants like outside and like in like a new vacuum and all that stuff like ready to go? Because they still have the list and all these things haven't been done. But they've just been troubled for 3 hours and struggled to get back in. I don't know what they were up to.
I don't understand that part. But anyways, so Kenan is like, oh man, another thing to add curtains to the list. He goes back into the living room. Kel is like, no, I'm going to help out. So he grabs the soaking wet curtains, and he goes, I know how to dry these. So he goes over to the oven, opens the oven, turns it on, throws the wet curtains in, and then closes it and walks away like he did something extraordinary.
Yeah, not only has Kel the tub running, but also the oven on. Like, what a... just everything you're not to... This is a good not to do when you own a home or space.
Yeah, they should show this to everybody who buys a home.
Kel points out something that's happened in several episodes. But it's raining on the inside. A great callback, I thought, to the beginning of the episode.
A great callback. It made that intro, like, one of the most, like,
relevant ones.
Yeah, relevant, intelligent... like well thought out, yeah.
Yeah, and Kel does the same thing 2 times in a row here. When the faucet's broken, and now when it's raining, he's like, I got this, and he goes to like open his mouth and try and stop it.
He's trying to like eat it, drink it.
Although, funny enough, with the little drops coming from the ceiling, yeah, he starts drowning. But the faucet, he was fine. But
and then Kenan sits him down and gives him a little like a Heimlich kind of deal.
This is crazy, right? Kel can, like, down a tankard of grog in 5 seconds. But a couple drops from the ceiling is, like, makes him drown.
There's a lot to handle. There's a lot going on for Kel today.
He's a little inconsistent, I will point that out.
Kenan is looking for something to catch the rain. Or the indoor rain. And so he just gets, like, this bowl and then puts it underneath. And then he pulls the notepad out. And what does he add, Adam?
Oh, well, he had to dry the curtains earlier. He has, call the plumber. And suddenly, as he says this, the toilet falls into the living room. The pink toilet.
There's a giant crash, and then the toilet is just thrown down.
And he's like, he probably wants to get someone to repair the hole in the ceiling, too. Kenan says my favorite line of his this right now. He says, man, this is bad. So bad. Do you know what it is? And Kel says, bad? Well, it's not good.
Well, it's not good, right. We did miss a Y earlier. When Kel was feeding Norman with the chips. He goes, why?
Which is great. I missed our Ys.
Yeah.
A good Ys makes a great episode.
That's right. So Kenan picks up the toilet and sets it down like that's going to make a difference. I don't know how just the toilet fell. Anyways, like there's like pieces of the ceiling falling too, and so Kel's like, wait, I can fix this. So he goes upstairs.
I can turn off the tub. Yeah,
I can turn off the tub. He goes upstairs, and after a couple moments, Kenan makes some notes on his notepad or wipes some water out of his eyes, and then Kel just kind of falls through the ceiling.
Which is a very terrible situation, I gotta say. He can't turn off the water. No one can. You'll just fall into the first floor.
And Adam, the water doesn't get turned off, let me tell you.
No, it doesn't.
It just keeps going.
But there's a knock at the door. A loud knock.
They say, police! And then Kel goes, oh, there's no police here.
You must have the wrong house. We're not the police.
Yeah, something like that.
And then he's like, no, there's the police. Let's let him in. And so they open the door. There's 2 cops there.
I'm kind of relieved it's not the cops that are like similar to Kenan and Kel, because that might have gone poorly.
Yeah, the bumbling cops. These cops are... I don't think they do anything particularly wrong in this one. They're very much right. Kenan and Kel give them terrible answers and information. So what's the first thing that they ask?
Well, they say that the neighbors called and they saw 2 kids breaking in through the kitchen window. Which makes me think, it seems like Chris has some good neighbors. Why didn't he ask them to house sit?
That's actually a really good point, yeah.
Maybe it was because he wanted to give Kenan an extra chance to make some money. Because he cares about him.
Or he's got some dark, like, skeletons in the closet that he doesn't want his neighbors to figure out. He thinks they might be onto him, but he knows Kenan is just a kid and probably won't even go upstairs or downstairs or anywhere else.
Well, that is just silly, because in an episode where things didn't go wrong and Kenan was just watching the house, he definitely would have gone in every single room.
Yeah. The other version of this is where Kenan watches the house and makes a mess of it, a la Twizzles Fizzles.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they say to him, and then they ask him, "Do you live here?"
Well, no.
I would say live, exactly. Cal points out, it's like, yeah, we came in through the window because the door is locked. Let me explain everything that happened. He says, so Kenan accidentally killed all of Chris's friends, except for Norman. He's in the bathtub.
And the cop's like, what?
And then Kenan goes to his normal, his normal excuses, which make less sense in this situation. He's, not telling the truth. He's not clarifying. He says, what he meant to say was something that sounded like kill, but was different. Then Kenan starts, kissing up to the cop. He says, police officer, sir cop, policeman. I would love to explain. And as he says that, he puts his foot on the table, the coffee table.
Yeah, he walks over. I love to explain. And then he puts his foot, and then the foot goes right through the table. And to which he just takes his notepad casually out of his pocket and goes, fix table.
The cops point out, hey, are you geniuses cooking something?
Yeah, what's that smell? And there's just smoke pluming from the kitchen.
Let me ask you, do you think there would be smoke?
There would be smoke. There'd be smoke. It'd start burning, yeah. Well, the steam would come first, and then, yeah.
So they see a fire in the kitchen.
They run over to the kitchen.
This is my other favorite Kenan line. It's a really quick aside that he says. He's like, there's a fire in the kitchen. And then he goes over to the sink, and he sees the glove.
This is good. So he goes over to the glove, he just goes, oh, and he kind of pokes it, and then it just explodes.
Yeah. Yeah. He says... And a few gloves grown in the sink, no less.
He touches it really lightly and it just pops.
It's just everywhere.
The cops come over and they open. They clearly see that something's in the oven. They pull out the curtains and then Kel goes, "Oh, they're dry."
Yeah, he yells at Kel, "Kel, do something!" Kel goes over to the phone, picks it up, and starts yelling, "Help!" into it. Just utter chaos right now.
And so then Kenan, the cops come in and they're just like, "What is happening?" And Kenan pulls out the list. He goes, okay, so we gotta...
Yeah, he lists everything on the list. Buy plants, fix the bowl, clear the fish tank, replace the vacuum, fix the trophy, new oboe, fix the faucet, dry the curtains, call plumber, fix the toilet, repair the hole in the ceiling, I guess replace the curtains, and now fix the table. And he's like, well, we're gonna do that before Chris gets here.
And then you see Chris walk in through the door and goes, hey, Kenan!
Seeing his mother's house in ruin before him.
Could you imagine coming back from vacation?
Yeah, that sounds awful. But then Kenan's just to the cops, okay, you can take us now.
Yeah, the cops say we're gonna take you downtown, and Kenan's like, no, don't take us. I can fix this. And then Chris comes home, yells, and Kenan's like, okay, take us downtown. And that is the end of the episode.
It's a really good time.
I did not have a good time. I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't?
It was just. I've been having a little bit of busy, stressful week, and a lot of running around. And this was just I was a little anxious while watching. I was like, why can't something good happen?
Maybe that's something about me and what I like about Kenan and Kel is I can see other people getting into trouble. That I don't have to deal with.
That you don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
I've had to take care of people's houses before, and it's a pretty big responsibility. You want to do well, you want to do well by them, and
it's like a nightmare situation for you.
This is like something that would happen in a nightmare.
So in that case, let's see. At the very end,
yeah, I don't have the outro again. Paramount Plus.
Oh, well, this might make you feel better. So after they asked if everyone enjoyed the show and everyone is raucous audience.
Raucous.
Cal asked Kenan, "Did Chris notice?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, he came home to his flooded, burned house, but don't worry, Chris's insurance is going to pay for everything. Plus, his mama was going to redecorate anyway."
Oh well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think insurance covers
totally off the hook.
Kel actually has like a hoodie on. It's like a 90s hoodie with like a rain jacket. He's got a zipper in his front pocket.
Right.
And he opens up and pours some water inside. Kenan's like, "What are you doing, Kel?" He's like, I'm just watering Norman. I've got him with me in his jacket. You can't keep a fish in your pockets. Well, actually, that does give me an idea. Kel, grab a door, a talking Kel, and a throat lozenge, and meet me at the frozen yogurt shop. Come on, fishy. And Kel's just like, "Kenan, doesn't the frozen yogurt shop have a door?" Kenan! Oh, here it goes. So that's the episode. It's a stressful time for sure.
Yeah, it was just a lot happening.
I live for it, and I remember this one very fondly, so I'll reflect that in my score. So, Aaron, whose fault do you think this episode was? Kenan's or Kel's?
Well, it's Kenan's fault. Because you can't blame Kel for what happens with all that stuff. Like, Kenan just forgot to take care of Chris's house. He had a job. He didn't do it. Kenan's fault.
Yeah, I guess so. I think,
I mean, the worst damage to the house was done by Kel, because he just didn't turn the thing off.
Yeah, going over the list, most of the troubles were Kel related.
Right, but Kenan told Kel to feed the fish, which is what caused the whole fish thing. Like, Kenan should know better. He should have just fed the fish.
Kenan should have just gone over by himself.
Yes. Yes, well, I mean, it's all Kenan's fault.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Kenan started this chain of events.
We could definitely do like an essay, like a critical analysis of like, you know, do intentions matter when it comes to like who's to blame?
And he wasn't thinking hard with like the task distribution. If he said, "Kel, clean up the plants, I'll feed Norman," then Kel would have made way less of a trouble.
Yeah. When you have Kel dealing with living things, bad things happen.
Yeah. No, it was Kenan's neglect that caused this chain of events.
That's right.
I add a couple things to meet the Rockmores, as I like to point out. Kel knows how to play the oboe. Chris attended grocery college. And Chris's mother dressed as a witch for Halloween.
Yeah, right.
Something I caught that I wanted to point out, too, is that after seeing that she's not, like, you know, she's obscured in every photo, Kenan says something to Chris very peculiar. He's like, "Well, I hope that you and your mother have a good vacation."
Ooh.
It's really like even Kenan's got like his own theories that like Chris's mother might not exist or something.
Yeah, right. Well, he doesn't believe it.
To be explored in later episodes. So let's get into ratings, shall we?
Sure.
All right. On IMDb, Housesitter is ranked high medium, number 23 out of 62. So to kind of put that near some other episodes, it's right below IQ Can Do Better, right above Turkey Day.
Above Turkey Day.
It's a pretty memorable episode that tuned in. 7.7 out of 10 is what they give it. Out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many would you give this episode?
I'm going to go right along the lines of IMDb and give it a 7.5.
All right. I've made it no secret that I'm a fan of this one. I've seen it far too many times. On a recent viewing, I felt like when I watched it, I'm like, Kel's kind of crazy, isn't he? It's a little childish and cartoony. But watching it again, I still love this one. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, way up there.
There you go.
I was tempted to give it a 10.
I think 9 is fair.
There's one more thing I wanted to point out to you, Aaron.
Sure.
The writer of this episode is one of maybe not our favorites.
Oh, no. Savage Steve.
Savage Steve Holland, yes.
When was the last time we saw Savage Steve? Happy birthday, Mark.
So far, he's written 3 episodes for the show.
A Star's Peeved. You know what? That's why I didn't like it. I don't like his writing.
Wow, I'm surprised because to me it was like, this kind of redeemed him a little bit more. But
well,
yeah,
I gave it a 7.5 partly because I'm not really in the headspace for Kenan and Kel today. But it was still a good episode. I can appreciate some aspects of it, but something with Savage Steve just doesn't work with me.
Your favorite one of his was To Catch a Thief. He's got 2 more ahead for us. I'm curious how he's gonna land for you all together.
We'll see. We might have to create. You might have to create a better spreadsheet with directed by and written by, so we can kind of rank scores based on.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, I'd love to do something like that. We're gonna have so many charts at the end of this.
Yeah, we'll post them somewhere. Put them on public domain Google Doc. That's right, To Catch a Thief.
So, next episode, why don't you tell us about it?
Next episode is I'm Gonna Get You, Kenan. And here's what Wikipedia says. After catching a notorious criminal, that seems suspicious, Kel accidentally slips Kenan's name and address, leaving the criminal swearing vengeance.
We've been talking about how some of these are like cross paths with Drake and Josh a lot. This is some like theater thug level.
Yeah.
Especially season 3, like a lot of that energy's there. So
That's right.
we'll talk about it next time.
We'll talk about it next time, everybody. Until then, we hope you stay drinking your orange soda, taking care of your fish and your houseplant friends.
Yeah, if you go away this summer, get someone responsible to watch your stuff.
That's right.
Not Kenan.
That's right. And make sure your neighbors are watching your windows, because you never know who's going to jump in the window and try to hop on that big orange couch of yours. Until next time, everybody. Here it goes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. If you want to stay in touch, send us an email at KenanandKelPodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. Our social media accounts are all at KenanKelPodcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, everybody.